Good? Good? We're going?
Yes.
Let's start. Hey everyone, this is Shimmy from Shimmy's Custom Covers. And the video that I'm doing now is going to be on my install kit for the Roadglide. It's a 2015 and up. If you purchased my kit, thank you very much. Hopefully you also purchased a cover to protect the double-din radio that you're going to put in. Anyway, the first thing I tell people to do, you want to put your cover on first. So if you bought a cover from me, mount the cover first. Whether it be a removable cover or if you bought the hinge cover. This bike here has the hinge cover on it, but mount it first. The easiest way to look at the videos that I put out are, my best suggestion is, like, say, silicone around it, put clamps on it. If you silicone around it and you take quick clamps and just beat the silicone all the way around and quick clamps and let it sit up overnight. Don't touch it, come back the next day, let it set up. If you do that, you'll get a nice seal. As you can see, a nice silicone seal going all the way around it. I use black silicone. That way you don't see anything on the fairing at all. But mount your cover. That's the most important thing. Mount that first because that's the part of this install kit that you need. So if you purchase my kit, wiring harness, skosh. It's a plug and play. Plug it into the stock harness. It's all you need. This is your steering wheel control and your radio control. I would suggest you staying away from doing the metric kit. There's a lot of issues with those guys. So everything here you see what you get the kit except the radio. You're not that lucky to receive a radio for that cost, but anyway. Here's the parts you have. Only thing different I already did. I already mounted these side pieces here. You have them in your kit. They look like this. Basically, when you install your kit, and you put this in place, and your radio's in place, if you've ever seen any other kits out there, when that place goes into play, and you have your radio in play, you'll end up with a gap on either side of the radio. Which if you do put these fillers in, it'll take care of filling up the gap. So then you don't have all that space left to right. And it'll fill the whole area. And it just looks like it's a nicer install. So makes the radio look a lot more fuller when you're set and done. So it's real simple. You can't screw this up. Take the screws out that I provided to you. You get so many calls, people can't figure out how this goes together, but it's pretty simple. This bracket can only go on one side. It's going to go, I mean, if you know you got it right when it's smooth right there. So that bracket only goes on the one side. And all you're going to do is basically, these things are already, let me take these gloves off, it's messing me up here. These things are already drilled and tapped, so you can only go in one way. Like I say, they're threaded. Don't tighten up all the way yet. Just get it to where they touch, because you want to be able to slide this thing up and down if you have to. So all you're going to do is basically start the screw. So you're going to get this bracket on both sides of the radio, on both sides of the holder. Now I've already put my harness in place, the wiring harness. It's already done, so try to speed things up, but literally if you look at the stock unit, you can obviously see it just plugs in The nice thing about the Scotia is you don't have to go buy a steering wheel controller. It's already built into it. If you buy the metric kit, you will have to turn around and buy a steering wheel controller as well. So their kit's about $140, and you're going to spend another $70 on a steering wheel controller, so you're looking at $210. You buy Shimmy's kit, it's $175, and it comes with the controller. And with my kit, I have a built-in tilt. So I tell everyone you're getting a tilt. The stock radio, when your regular radio was in there, was facing up toward the sky. I put a tilt in mine to enable you to be able to get the radio up straighter and look more forward toward you, helping on the sun glare and what have you. So don't tighten it up. You don't want to tighten everything up. You just want to leave it loose for now. Slide your radio into the deck. I mean, the radio it's going to go right in there. Okay. Reason why you don't want to tighten this thing up yet is because what you're going to take and do is this radio here is going to sit in place. So you can see, come to the back here, come to the back here. You can see this thing here, okay? See, it only goes in one way. So now you see like this here, you don't want to tighten it up yet, because what's going to happen is you're going to get rid of that stock bracket that's on the bracket that came with the stock radio. That's out the door. The reason why we get rid of that is because what we're going to do is basically this radio is going to go in place, and we're going to slide this radio up. Slide this radio. See, this is the reason why you don't want to tighten this up yet, because this bracket here you're going to have to set into the opening. And first thing you're going to have to do before you do that, there's flanges on here that stick out here. I've already taken these off. You have to trim these flanges. If you look at this thing from the top, come here from the top, when your stock one's going to stick all the way back here, which if they were on here, the radio is going to be, it's going to cause the radio to stick straight up in the air. So with my system, I basically put a tilt in it. I have you take that off. And when you're taking it off, take little by little. Don't take too much at a time. But when you're set and done, this front here, if you're doing it right, what you want to initially try to achieve is, you're going to take that flange out to where these two here are flush. Before you start this, you'll be all the way here. That's why your radio looks up in the sky. You can't view it very well. I have you take this flange out. You take that flange out there, and now it enables you to get the radio more forward, and now it enables you to put that tilt into it. And now the radio is, instead of like this, face up in the sky, now you're able to go like this, and it's facing more forward. So you do have to take that out. And I suggest just getting a sander and just taking your time. Don't go gung-ho and cutting way too much at a time. Just take your time and sand it out. But you want these two to be flush. You know you got it correct when the cover goes in place and it sits flush. Now, me, I jumped the gun and I put these flanges on automatically. Put them in place before sticking this holder in here, which I say, I have you actually, you should put them on last. I was trying to save a little time for video's sake. But I might have to trim out a little bit here for the flange to fit in place. No, okay, hold on, might be very good. Yeah, I got a little too happy. Put mine in too soon. Alright, I have to trim a little bit out on here. Let's stop the video off. So like I was saying earlier, if you have this trimmed correctly, the cover should sit flush here and should be flush down the bottom. See how you have, if you look here, you see there's no gap. You look down here and it's flush down the bottom. Once you get that set in place, what I typically do is I take clamps and pull it toward the front. That way it's sitting flush. And as you can see here, don't put the blocks in until you're done. I'm just doing this to save time on the video. These blocks can be dropped in after you get the radio in place. But see how they kind of fill the rest of that gap? So when you get your radio in place, it fills the whole area. You'll see here in a minute. So once that's set in place, so that's the angle you want. So then you're going to turn around, you want to tighten that in place. And this is where you're going to actually just this is where you're going to tighten these screws on the side, and you ain't got to get crazy, just till they touch. And that's all you're going to do is till they touch. And once they're, all you're doing is touching, because honestly this radio is not going anywhere. You get that portion in, then you have these screws here. You're not going to use the stock screws, you're going to use the bolts I provided you. If you try to use the stock screws, they're going to fall right in that hole. So these here, they're going to get that put down in these holes here. And I see them, so you're not going to use the washer at all. So like I was saying earlier, if you have this trimmed correctly, the cover should sit flush here and should be flush down the bottom. See how you have, if you look here, you see there's no gap. You look down here and it's flush down the bottom. Once you get that set in place, what I typically do is I take clamps and pull it toward the front. That way it's sitting flush. And as you can see here, don't put the blocks in until you're done. I'm just doing this to save time on the video. These blocks can be dropped in after you get the radio in place. But see how they kind of fill the rest of that gap? So when you get your radio in place, it fills the whole area. You'll see here in a minute. So once that's set in place, so that's the angle you want. So then you're going to turn around, you want to tighten that in place. And this is where you're going to actually just this is where you're going to tighten these screws on the side, and you ain't got to get crazy, just till they touch. And that's all you're going to do is till they touch. And once they're, all you're doing is touching, because honestly this radio is not going anywhere. You get that portion in, then you have these screws here. You're not going to use the stock screws, you're going to use the bolts I provided you. If you try to use the stock screws, they're going to fall right in that hole. So these here, they're going to get that put down in these holes here. And I see them, so you're not going to use the washer at all.